A series of murders have been committed, but not just any murders. A web of intrigue spun deep within the heart of Ravnica, where guild loyalties cut deeper than daggers and secrets are buried beneath the very stones of the city. Welcome, dear viewer, to Murder at Karlov Manor, a Magic the Gathering set where the rules of the game are written in blood and deception. Here, justice is not blind, it simply wears a different guild sigil. But fear not, for tonight we shall examine the evidence, the suspects, and yes, the motive behind these callous incidents. Because in a world where everyone has something to hide, the truth is the rarest card of all. And I, Inspector Pinbox Jack, intend to draw it. Right, so I'm going to drop the Poirot, Sherlock Holmes kind of thing there. First, a little background to our sordid affair. Murders at Karlov Manor are part of the Omen Path arc, dealing with the aftermath of the Phyrexian invasion of the multiverse. The guilds united to defeat the Phyrexian invasion, and an event is held at Karlov Manor to celebrate that victory. Several prominent citizens of Ravnica are dead. But first, I would like to introduce you to our colleagues investigating the case. Kaya, Ulquist Proft, and Kellen, as well as the leader of the agency, Ezrim the Archon. Kaya is a planeswalker who has recently been deposed as the Orzhov guild leader. Ulquist Proft is a former member of the Azorius Senate Guild, now operating as part of the agency. Kellen, the son of a planeswalker who has been travelling through different planes using Omen Paths, and has also recently joined the agency. Lastly, Ezrim the Archon, the leader of the Ravnician Agency, a guild-neutral institute who investigate the murders. And, as with any good detective investigation, we must have our suspects. A Trata, a Dimir assassin. Is it so surprising to think that one who takes lives for a living would not be capable of murder again? Aurelia, the Boros guild leader, who wants to use her own people to investigate the case and, should it be necessary, go to war with the other guilds. A motive, perhaps? Judith, the guild leader of Rakdos, who blames the demon Rakdos for the murders, a deflection to avoid suspicion on herself. And lastly, Tristani, the guild leader of the Slesnia, and a fusion of three dryads, Oba, Ses, and Sim. Another guild leader with the means and motive to carry out the attacks. Our setting is the Karlov Manor, belonging to Teysa Karlov, the recently crowned guild leader of the Orzhov, having taken the title from our investigator, Kaya. A party is being held welcoming all the great and powerful of the guilds to celebrate the defeat of the Phyrexian invasion. Several guild leaders are present at the party. The aforementioned Teysa Karlov of the Orzhov, Judith of the Rakdos, Aurelia from the Boros, and Lavinia of the Azorius, along with prominent figures of other guilds and other organisations, Ezrim the Archon of the agency, Krenko, an ally of Teysa, and a goblin mob boss. However, others are notable in their absences, including the leaders of House Dimir, the Izzet League, and the Golgari Swarm guilds. Teysa Karlov reminds Kaya that she owes a debt to the Orzhov due to her absence during the invasion, and also wants to show off Kaya as a planeswalker aligned with the Orzhov Syndicate Guild. Teysa insists on meeting Kaya for a private chat, something important, but something to be heard behind closed doors. Once they get to the balcony to talk, the sound of screams ring out. The two race to the sound of the screams, but the room from which they emanate is locked. Ezrim also arrives and breaks down the door. Inside the room, Zigana of the Simic is dead, murdered with no sign of a struggle. The building is locked down, no one are out. Presumably then, our suspect is among us still. Vanifar of the Simic is informed of Zigana's killing as the news begins to spread within the manor. The Azorius and the Boros begin to question everyone on the excuse that, with 8 guilds in one place, there was bound to be trouble. Ulquist enters the crime scene and discovers that Zigana's body was left as a pile of coats, with 9 of the 10 guild sigils present. The last, Dimir, being covered by Zigana's body, which leads Ulquist to deduce that there is a Dimir agent in the manor. Eventually they find their agent, a woman with Celestian clothing, but no sigil, a Trata, a Dimir vampire assassin, who tries to flee on being found, although she is quickly apprehended and sent to prison. With the killer found, many of the Azorius leave the manor. Vanifar is angry, suggesting further repercussions from the Simic. Kaya and Teysa carry on their earlier conversation, with Teysa giving Kaya a deadline for her information, and Kaya considering leaving Ravnica for good. Over the next few days until Teysa's deadline, Kaya wanders the streets of Ravnica. Helen reaches out to her with an offer from the agency. She meets Ezrim, who offers her a chance to lead the investigation, which she declines. Atrata is questioned by Proft and claims not to remember the killings, even though she remembers all the others. Proft enlists her help in the case to help clear her name and lets her leave prison. Kaya is summoned back to Karlov Manor and arrives to find the manor empty, except for the body of Teysa Karlov. Kaya attempts, without success, to contact Teysa's ghost, but discovers that even in death, Teysa is still the Orzhov guild leader, giving Kaya a ghostly alibi. She returns to Ezrim, accepting his proposal to lead the investigation. When she returns to the agency, it is in chaos with Atrata's escape from prison. She reveals that Teysa is dead. Ezrim assigns Kellen to help Kaya in the investigation, and the two, along with the ghost of former Boros investigator Agris Kos, go to question Judith of the Rakdos. Judith admits she'd argued with Teysa, but that interest rates were not a reason to kill either of those who were dead. She suggests they go to Vitu-Ghazi, in Selesnyan territory, to read the Guild Pact. Proft travels with Atrata to Dimir territory, to see the last place she remembers being before the murder, discovering a booby-trapped secret passage, which leads Atrata to admits to using to dispose of those she doesn't want as company. She admits to plenty of murders, leading Proft to conclude there is someone manipulating the killings. Proft finds a strange powder, a yellowy dust that Atrata doesn't remember having. Proft leaves to investigate the murder, but is attacked by Massacre Girl, who has been sent to kill him. Atrata intervenes to save Proft, as Massacre Girl is a former friend of hers. Kaya and Kellen go to Vitu-Ghazi, being met by Tolsimir and his wolf. Trostani also meets them in the form of the three Dryads. While Sin and Sess are polite, Oba criticises Kaya for not getting involved in the invasion, costing lives. Kaya reads the Guild Pact, noting the following passage. It is the hope of the founders that, by binding the demon Rakdos to a people of his own, we can prevent his continuing to instill murderous rage in the citizens of Ravnica. This disruptive pastime has resulted in random slaughter and rampages, with even the meekest of people turning on their kin without warning or due cause. Proft and Atrata go and see Kylox to analyse the powder, due to Atrata's escape from the agency. The agency is off limits. Kylox's house is wrecked, but Proft discovers a secret passage behind a bookshelf, which they then follow to get to Kylox. Kylox asks them to see Ezrim before being kidnapped by Krenko. Kaya and Kellen leave Vitu-Ghazi and are ambushed by 6 robed figures. Although they fend off the attackers eat some plant that makes their bodies dissolve, and there is white fur on the ambushers' clothes, which point to Vosja, Tolsimir's wolf, and Trostani. Arriving back at the agency, there is more chaos. Teysa's killer has been caught, but doesn't remember killing her either. Aurelia has been attacked by Massacre Girl, although she has survived. Still, she is incensed and threatens to march on the Rakdos if Kaya doesn't solve the mystery in the next 24 hours. Proft and Atrata find Kylox, triggering a fight between Krenko's forces, Atrata and a third assassin. Proft sees for himself that the assassins have been manipulated and doesn't remember anything. Kellen and Kaya discuss the possible suspects, dismissing Rakdos as an influence as there would be more chaos. They also mention Trostani until they are interrupted by a creature created by Angrag, the Gruul god. Kyan, Kellen, and Ezrim contain Ansrag. Agris Kos asks Kaya to investigate at Rix Mardi to discover Rakdos' involvement, finding Rakdos in a deep sleep and captured by Judith, who is framing Rakdos in order to convince the other guilds to bind him permanently. Atrata and Proft visit the Golgari leader, Izoni, and analyse the powder, discovering it was natural but not from Ravnica, potentially from Phyrexians. After leaving, Proft is attacked and knocked out by a hooded figure, who captures something in Proft's mind. Aurelia reveals Argus Kos didn't return from Rakdos. Proft and Kaya share notes, and with Kaya's information, Proft claims he knows who did it and can prove it. Proft gathers a group in Vitu-Ghazi for the reveal, including Judith, Trostani, Lavinia, Krenko, Massacre Girl, Aurelia, and Vanifar. He reveals he has gathered them all because the culprit is among them. Each guild is represented, allowing the gathering to take place. Proft talks to each of the suspects individually, and the group is attacked by the powder, which Proft expected to happen. The killer tries to manipulate Kaya to kill Proft, but it doesn't work. The revelations then begin. Atrata had been manipulated by the powder, as had the other assassins. The powder is not natural or Phyrexian, but may have been developed in exposure to other life. Only one guild has the means to create a powder like this. The Celestia Conclave. Trostani is accused of being the murderers by Proft. Ober, one of the Dryads, confesses, surprising the other two Dryads. Ober states that those who were killed were traitors and deserved to die. Zagana had been experimenting on Ravnikans. Krenko was profiteering from the Phyrexian War through profiteering. And Tesa had been supposedly in league with the Phyrexians. The powder is made from the root of the Vitu-Ghazi. However, the three Dryads cannot be arrested. Two of them are innocent, and they are all one being. Ober makes her sisters sleep and takes control of the Vitu-Ghazi, starting a battle, capturing Aurelia and Lavinia. In the end, Ober and Kaya fight it out. Kaya uses her ghost form to get an advantage against the being Trostani, and Atrata helps to use an agency capsule to bind Ober separately to the other Dryads, who both retire out of guilt. Tesa appears to Kaya at Tesa's funeral as a ghost, and plans to obtain compensation from the Thlesni Guild. So that is our story. How a powder of control could cause political chaos and murder. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to leave a like, comment down below, and I'll talk to you all next time.